afternoon. Welcome to our show, Health and Wellness, Myths versus Facts. The definition of health goes way beyond just the absence of disease. The pandemic has put mental as well as physical health and wellness into sharp focus. Awareness of health issues is important for everyone. The absence, inaccessibility or inaccuracy of information about chronic diseases is probably worse now than ever before. It's been worsened by myths and fears, as well as a greater reliance on social media. And so, as always, we have medical experts with us to try and answer your questions and set the record straight on a whole lot of misconceptions at this time. We're joined on the show today by Dr. Mihir Raut, DNB Medicine, Postdoctoral Fellowship, Diabetology. He's a consulting physician and diabetologist with the Nanavati Max Super Speciality Hospital in Mumbai. We're also being joined by Dr. N.S. Ramaraju, MD, DM, FSCAI, FESC, Head of the Department, Chief of Cardiology, CEO, the KIMS Polineni Hospital in Rajamundry. Thank you both for being with us. Let me begin first with Dr. Mihir Raut. Dr. Raut, they call diabetes a silent killer, and they say symptoms may go unnoticed as diabetes progresses. But what is your advice to those who are screening for diabetes or those who are watching out for diabetes symptoms?
So that is true what you have mentioned. So people who have a family history of diabetes, or those who are on the overweight or obese side, and the other young ladies who are planning to get pregnant. So these are the people I would say should screen themselves for diabetes. The other thing is, if the people have symptoms like unexplained weight loss over the time, blurring vision, recurrent urinary tract infection, thirst, or recurrent urination. So these are the people also should screen themselves for diabetes.
Right. Dr. Ramaraju, people get to know about their heart conditions when they actually get a heart attack. What are the symptoms that they should be looking out for in order to try and arrest heart disease before it progresses to a stage where very little can be done about it?
Good morning. The heart attack now is a parallel to the diabetes, is very rampant in India. And many of the patients do neglect these symptoms because most of the times they think there's a gastritis and they'll be consulting some quacks or medical shop people. But whenever a person experiences a mid-chest pain with radiation to left hand or radiation to jaw or radiation to back or with profuse sweatings or some difficulty in breathing, they have to approach immediately the hospital, because whatever the mid-sternal chest pain, whenever there is a mid-sternal chest pain, they have to be alert. But the main problem comes especially with the elderly people and diabetic patients, long-standing diabetic people, is most of the times they will not perceive pain, and they'll be having a simple sudden onset of breathlessness. And most of the times in this sudden onset of shortness of breath, they don't consider themselves as heart attack, and most of the times they do not seek medical attention. So any elderly person or a diabetic, if they have a sudden onset of breathlessness, 90% it could be probably a myocardial infarction, that is heart attack. They have to take an immediate medical attention.
Right. Now, Dr. Raut, there are some misconceptions about the level of blood sugars that can diagnose diabetes. So what are the parameters that people need to watch out for, and what needs to be checked before one can confirm whether someone has diabetes or not?
Most commonly, people check their fasting post-lunch or a random sugar with a routine test. So if your fasting is between, fasting is more than 110, or your postprandial sugar is more than 200, or a random sugar is more than 200, that means there is likelihood of diabetes. There is diagnosis of diabetes, and you have to confirm it with a HbA1c level. HbA1c is glycosylated hemoglobin, that is the last 3 months sugar level which is noted. So if your HbA1c is more than 6.5, that is a confirmed diagnosis of diabetes. If it is between 5.7 to 6.4, it denotes that you are at the borderline, or what we call as a pre-diabetes. If it is less than 5.7, that means you are non-diabetic. So
right.
These are the levels one can do.
Yeah. Dr. Ramaraju, heart disease is, obviously lifestyle related as well. If your weight is under control, if you have a healthy lifestyle, are you automatically immune to heart disease, or are there other factors that need to be watched out for also?
See, the cause for heart attack is multifactorial. Having a lean personality or having a healthy lifestyle itself will not be sufficient, because many factors like genetic factors and associated conditions like associated diabetes or whatever it is, and job stress, etc., they play a lot of role. So definitely lifestyle modification definitely plays a role, and one should have a good adequate lifestyle. But apart from that, control the risk factors and avoidance of habits like especially smoking, and these are very very important, and to have a healthy lifestyle. Not only dietary factors, but control of associated comorbidities are also very very important in controlling in preventing heart attack.
Right. Dr. Raut, people who've been recently diagnosed with either diabetes or pre-diabetes, they hope to stop medications by making suitable lifestyle changes. Now, in your opinion, is diabetes reversible, or, once you've been diagnosed, are you stuck with taking medications for the rest of your life?
Yeah, so if the person is diagnosed in the initial phase, especially a type 2 diabetes, so there is chances of reversal with lifestyle modification. So taking proper diet and nutrition under guidance, so they can achieve reversal. But for type 1, reversal is not possible. Only type 2 diagnosed who are diagnosed early can aim for reversal with proper guidance.
Okay. All right, we will take a very quick break at this point, but there is much more to talk about. We'll be back with our experts in just a moment. Welcome back to Health and Wellness, Myths versus Facts. We're joined as always by medical experts. Dr. N.S. Ramaraju is with us. Dr. Ramaraju, if you have heart issues or you're suspected of having a heart condition, then what is it that you would advise a patient to do?
In a patient already who have a heart issue, like a heart attack, they have to immediately rush to the hospital. In an ideal setup, they have to undergo a primary angioplasty. Primary angioplasty means immediately will open the vessel, whatever that is blocked, so that will provide immediate perfusion to the heart, and it can protect the heart. So suppose if the patient has not undergone this, patient was treated in a remote place, and the patient has to undergo after initial stabilization, then angiography, and whatever the blocks that are the causative factor for this, they need to be treated aggressively, because not only we should treat the existing heart disease, and also we should protect the patient from future risk. So definitely in all the cardiac patients, especially the heart patients who are presenting early, they need to undergo immediate angiography and revascularization, what we call, either in the form of angioplasty or bypass surgery.
Right. Thanks for that, Dr. Ramaraju. Dr. Raut, we keep talking about how prevention is better than cure. Which tests can one do to prevent the complications of diabetes? Is there a frequency with which one should be taking tests? What's your advice to your patients on this?
Long-term diabetes or uncontrolled diabetes within some short time can give rise to diabetic complications. So the most common complications which are seen are eye problems, what we call as retinopathy. So people should check their eyes for early cataracts, retina changes from an eye doctor. The other things which they should check is nephropathy or the kidney problem. So in that, patient should do his serum creatinine level, urine albumin creatinine ratio, eGFR level should be checked for the function of kidney. And if there is any deterioration, then probably a nephrologist can be called for. Similarly, while neuropathy is quite common. Neuropathy, while checking for neuropathy, we check for the feet, assessment of sensation, vibratory sensation, then if the patient has any sensation or not, touch sensation and other things. And at the same time, while assessing the feet, we see for the blood flow also, how the pulsations are, to see if there is any peripheral vascular disease. If any neurological problems arise, we try to treat them, and if not, then we go ahead for further tests like nerve conduction velocity and other, can involve a neurologist. Similarly, these are the common microvascular but major vascular problems also arise in diabetes, like the way now sir said. It is true that in diabetics they may get silent heart attacks, they may have heart failure. So screening is necessary every year to do ECG, and if suppose the patients have symptoms, they should rush to the hospital, visit a cardiologist, get a 2D echo done early as a part of screening every yearly. So these things are necessary, and being multifactorial vascular disease, so all problems can arise. So patients should not take their diseases like all the complications very lightly. They should go and adjust, and try to meet the experts and take their advices for them.
Okay. Dr. Ramaraju, similarly, cholesterol numbers are obviously also important for determining your risk of having a heart attack. Does it matter what you eat on the day before a cholesterol test?
See, there are a lot of myths regarding cholesterol. When we see, only 20% of the total cholesterol in the body is contributed by diet, whereas rest of the cholesterol is generated by the body itself. It all depends upon how the metabolism alterations vary between a person to person. That's why some persons will be having a high cholesterol and some persons will be having low cholesterol. Definitely, dietary modifications do add a little to the levels of cholesterol. Definitely, we advise dietary modifications whenever see a patients with high cholesterol levels. But diet itself will not control the cholesterol level. Apart from that, if the patient has very high LDL levels, LDL is especially harmful to the heart. Suppose the patient is having high LDL levels, all these patients need to have statins. Statins are the molecules which are nowadays called as wonder molecules, especially in a cardiac patients, where they have proven beyond doubt to reduce the incidence of heart disease, to protect the heart from the bad effects of cholesterol. So definitely, apart from dietary modification, these patients need to be thoroughly followed up by using statins periodically, at least once in 6 weeks initially, later at least once in 6 months. These cholesterol should be modified, and apart from lifestyle modifications and dietary restrictions, drugs should be very, very compliant, and they have to be very vigilant about the cholesterol levels.
Right. Dr. Raut, diabetes is now being seen as a long-term complication among people who've recovered from COVID-19 infections. What are the reasons for this new onset of diabetes among the recent COVID recoveries? Is it a temporary phenomenon, or are you seeing more cases?
See, with COVID-19, there is a lot of inflammatory response which goes due to the disease itself, due to COVID-19, and that inflammation is responsible for insulin resistance, and this has been published in papers, and that is what we see in our day-to-day life. That depends on how the inflammation is hit. If the person has a mild COVID disease, then probably he recovers without much problem. So the diabetes which comes can be a temporary one. But if the person has a moderate to severe COVID disease, so in that phase, where the person is on oxygen and requires steroids, so his blood sugar goes for a toss, and we have to control it till the steroids are going on insulin. And for some person for whom it is a new thing, who was not previously diabetic, for him he may become diabetic if he gets affected with this severe inflammatory disorder, inflammatory disease, and then he may get diabetes for long. I mean,
right.
Maybe permanent.
Dr. Ramaraju, the increase of heart disease among the younger demographic, with heart attacks also being seen quite frequently nowadays. So, in your opinion, why is this happening? Why are more and more young people being diagnosed with heart disease as well as heart attacks? And what tips can be given to them to prevent heart disease?
See, nowadays we are witnessing a lot of increase in the heart disease, especially in a younger population, that is especially in the Asian subset of patients. Our patients are nearly 10 to 20 years younger compared to the Western world. Here, majority of the patients nowadays, we are treating patients between 20 to 40 years of age, unfortunately, where this is the correct age where they have to settle in life, they have to protect, they have to support their family. But one of the main reasons is, one is habits, especially in the smoking, drugs, and second important factor is stress. Stress is very much increased in all sectors of the job in India, and especially in the IT industry, and even other factors also. A lot of job stress is increasing nowadays, and we don't have any outlets for stress. Especially, suppose if you take a Western population, they will have the Western countries. They will be having some facilities for like a gym facility, inbuilt gyms in the offices where they can relax for some time. They can do some exercise, etc. But unlike and they have limited working hours. But India, we are every profession is working on the toes. Every profession is working as a target-based profession. So, stress levels are increasing day by day, especially in the younger population, which is one of the main reason for increasing heart attacks in the younger patients. And to address this, to reduce this, we cannot really predict, especially in younger. Unlike in adult patients, where we can do some routine tests and identify who are the patients at risk of having heart attack. But younger patients, it's very difficult to predict because the two reasons. One is they will not come to checkups. We are saying that because most of the times before 40 years of age, nobody cares and nobody presumes that they will be having heart attack. And second thing is, even if we do tests also, we cannot really predict because most of the times the heart attacks in younger patients occur in the background of normal coronaries. Normal coronaries, that is, they will not be having any pre-existing disease. But because of the stress, some vessel plaque will rupture and immediately the thrombus forms, and immediately the fresh clots forms there within the heart, and they produce a massive heart attacks. So the main, the preventive aspect, what we can suggest is having a better lifestyle, a better dietary lifestyles, regular exercise, and stress-free life. Stress-free in the sense, at least they have to engage in some regular exercises, yoga, meditation, or whatever it is. And they have to enjoy the life because they have to enjoy the profession, what they're doing. See, unless you enjoy the profession, what you're working, you cannot be stress-free. As long as you don't enjoy your profession, what you're doing, whatever the work you do in the profession, it will be stressed you. So always stress is one of the important factor for the young coronary artery disease, apart from smoking and drugs, etc., which everyone should avoid.
All right, thank you for that very detailed answer. Dr. Rawat, one last question before we go. We hear a lot about the glycemic index tag that's now being used for foods. How is this relevant for a person who's planning with diabetes, who's planning a diet? How closely should they be looking at low glycemic index foods?
Yeah. So a person who is looking for diet control in diabetes, they should go for the low GI food so that the amount of glucose surge with these kind of food will be less. If you take normal food which has more carbohydrates, or so then the glycemic index is more of those foods. So person who are trying to control the sugars, who want to reduce their medicine, in addition to the exercises, the diet control should also be mandatory. So low GI food is definitely necessary for these people to cut down. That will also help them reduce weight, control their blood sugar very well, and decrease the medicine. So that is how we can eventually plan reversal also.
All right. Well, that's all we have time for on this edition of Health and Wellness, Myths versus Facts. Dr. Ramaraju and Dr. Rawat, thanks so much for joining us. We hope your questions were answered. Thanks for watching.